Give good gifts one to another, peace, joy, and comfort gladly bestow. Harbor no ill, then sister or brother, smooth life's journey as you onward go. Give good gifts one to another, peace, joy, and comfort gladly bestow. Harbor no ill, then sister or brother, smooth life's journey as you onward go. Broad as the sunshine, free as the showers, so shed an influence blessing to prove. Give for the noblest of efforts your parts. Blessed and be blessed is the law of love.
Like twice.
With First Presbyterian Church of Anaheim. This is a beautiful church. The significance of this stained glass and the simplicity of the
It's not
altar.
stained glass.
Oh,
They
it's
are
not?
faceted glass windows of chunks of glass. It's not a stained glass, your typical stained glass windows. They're called faceted glass windows. And they are all in memoriam or in honor of members of our congregation who have died or still living. But people have, donated the money to install these gorgeous windows in our church.
We can see the light as we walk.
I
by
know,
each of
isn't
these-
it gorgeous?
Yes, that comes.
It is so gorgeous.
And the banners, these banners behind us on
These
the wall.
banners all have meaning. As the church progressed over the years, these banners all signify moving on. The one with the swastika and the cross out there is to reject Nazism. And so this confession was made, this banner was made. Let's see, I can start with the first one and tell you what they are. The first banner is the Nicene Creed, and that's when the church took on the first creed from the New Testament. And then the second one comes from, this one here is the Apostles' Creed. The Scots Confession is when the church broke away from the Catholic Church, and the Scots are the ones who started Presbyterianism. And this is the Heidelberg Catechism. It consisted of 129 questions and answers, and they had to answer each one of those to become a member of the church. You had to learn this catechism. I remember as a kid even having to go to catechism classes to learn these things. Everything is hand-carved, yes. And I think these are grapes, if I'm not mistaken. These are supposed to be grapes and...
Carol, can you come join us, please?
One of the things that Mary shared about the windows, the stained glass windows, is
They're not
that
stained glass.
the look of stained glass. In this case, it's faceted. Is that they started with the darker colors and then worked their way to the lighter colors, a way of showing the fact that you're coming from darkness into light, and the pointed arches is one of the ways in which, they're looking up towards the apex, they're reaching towards God and spirit.
Yes.
And the architecture, this is a neo-Gothic building, and the architecture is, because of them being able to use that format of the pinnacle on the
It's an
glass,
upside-down
is
arc.
that they
This
were
church is an
able
upside-down arc. That's the way it's...
to spread out and be able to better support the structure of the building.
Let's take a walk down to the altar over here.
I want to say something
Yes.
about, this is the first window. This is the creation window right here. And then it goes that way and that way. So
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to get a shot. Hold on.
that's the creation window, because that belongs to my husband, who died of a brain aneurysm at 49 years of age, and the contributions came in so I could get the window, and that got installed. But once I chose that window to get going again, then people climbed on board, and we finished the church getting the windows in.
And Carol, can you speak to anything about this wonderful pipe organ?
I can tell you about the Pike. I'll tell you about that. It's an Aeolian Skinner pipe organ. It was installed, the church was built in 1951, and this organ went in 1952, October of 1952. And it has had only 2 players in these last ensuing years. Our first organist was Susan Talovich. She was our organist for 64 years. And now the organist we have now came in 2009.
How about the tiny little door?
The tiny little door. I don't know, what about the tiny little
I
door?
wonder the significance of it. It's a very small door.
I have no idea.
Let's take it. Let's take a walk down here. Is this where the choir would sit on this side?
The choir, originally it was designed for the choir to sit there, and it was supposed to be deacons and elders and stuff up in there, up in the chancel. And
And how about this?
that is one of the windows that's dedicated to one of our choir directors who died very young of a brain aneurysm, and that Rachel Beeman, that is her window.
Well, I love
dedicated to her window.
And it has the whole motif of being baptized, which is perfect because the baptismal font is right below it.
I think if people walked in here, they would never realize what you said. I want to go back what you said. If you look up at this church ceiling, it is an upside-down arc, like no.
Upside-down arc,
Noah's
that's
Ark.
it. That's right.
I don't think
That's
I've
what it
ever
is.
seen anything like it. Well, these are the
That's
things you
what
can
it is.
expect in Anaheim, but that are
Right.
amazing and very culturally rich. Now, as we
Exactly.
go towards the altar, ladies, we see this is very unusual. Look at this, is all hand carved, as you said. Is this all grapes or is the Gothic?
It's all, again, it's all hand carved, and that's, I think, the grapes, and I'm not sure, again, what each of these things signifies. I guess I should get more literature, get a little more versed, but I mean, like I say, we have the docent that left has done the whole book of history of this church, and he's the one who knows every inch and nook and
Well, we see
cranny
the
of this
beautiful
church.
light coming through. If you can capture that fantastic light coming through that particular.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that after.
That's wonderful. And then the altar in back with the simplicity of the cross. Is this for Lent, for Easter?
That's where the choir sits now, in the chancel. That's where we perform, in the chancel.
And they actually built this up because if you go up here, I'll show you. Some of this I learned today. And you notice that each of the sets of steps, there are only 3 steps going up. Again, in the thinking being it's Trinity, just like how they have the 3 windows there. Again, the Trinity.
It's 7 steps from there to here, and that is supposed to indicate the 7 steps of Christ to the cross.
And this last piece here, are these the disciples?
That window is dedicated to a young man who died at 24 years of age, and it was choir member's son. Paul Westermeyer was his name, and that window is dedicated to him. He was a musician, he was a music teacher, so that window was selected for him.
These 2 are also with that music motif.
These are all music motifs here.
But they raised this, and if you look in the back, you'll see that that was originally one of the seats that the deacon would sit in, and now you can see that because of the raised floor, it's not
Right.
really a functional
Right. Look at
seat
that.
anymore.
And this building is made of concrete, of stone, of what exactly?
Concrete, it's poured concrete.
Poured concrete.
Yes, this is amazing.
We have a video over in the other room playing, and you get more information about this building and how it's built. It shows from years ago from the ground up with the rods coming up through and then pouring the concrete. It's very fascinating.
Thank you for speaking to us. This has been an amazing day. We tried to get all 11 of the houses of worship in, and of course, as people speak and they're passionate about the cultural, the richness of everything that they know and things, the stories, personal stories they have. We don't want to cut anybody off. So, I'm sorry we missed some people significantly, but I think it's really important. I'm glad that you're able to speak to us.
I'm almost old enough to have poured the concrete myself.
See, we got all kinds of good stuff, the Word of God, and some humor too.